to the second main topic here, which is going to be transitioning a little bit back further to the WSL. I took a minute to go back to the NWSL for a second, but feel free to just transition with me here. So this is just going to be my quick post-match analysis of the Manchester United-Everton match. I watch United every weekend because, like I said earlier on in the podcast, I am a Manchester United fan first, and I always like to watch their games and just break down what Casey Stoney's Red Army has been doing throughout the season. So, like I said earlier, Everton did not get the best of Manchester United today. Manchester United won by a scoreline of 2-0. Earlier on in the game, Toone made quick work of a mistake made by Everton's keeper, where the keeper dropped the ball when she tried to catch it from a rocket shot from Leah Galton on the left wing. Dropped it. First, Christen Press had a stab at it, but missed, and then Toone was there to pick it up at the end. And to Manchester United's benefit, she scored and gave them the lead. Later on in the half, Christen Press receives a ball from Hayley Ladd, I believe it was. She had her back to the defender. She turned and scored. Absolutely fantastic. I feel I've been really rooting for Christen Press lately. If you guys were able to watch the last podcast episode, I talked about why Casey Stoney might not have been using Christen Press as much as a lot of people think she should or would have liked to have seen Casey Stoney do. But it was just really cool after having that conversation to see Christen Press perform well, and I think she really did perform well today, so there's that as well. Some other big headlines for the game, in case you guys didn't hear already. Jill Scott started for the match. She made her 150th appearance in the WSL, and Alicia Lehman just went on loan from West Ham to Everton, and she made her debut today for Everton as well. So let's actually start off by looking at the Manchester United lineup. So starting in goal, we had Mary Earps. At the left back position, we had Anna Batil. Then playing alongside her was Millie Turner and Amy Turner, the two central defenders, which I think they played well today. In the right back position, we had, why am I freezing on her name? Smith, I thought she played another fantastic game. Harris last week picked up an injury, and I believe that prompted Smith to not only play the rest of the game last week, but also start this one, and I think she put in a shift and did great work. In the midfield, we had Hayley Ladd, Katie Zellum, and also Jackie Gronin. I think the three of them have been bossing the midfield in the last few weeks, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Then in the forward line, at the left side of the forward line, we had Leah Galton. On the right side, we had Ella Toone, who made another start up top this week. And then we had Christen Press playing at the striking position and that number 9. So overall, I think the team did really, really well today. I think they did a lot better in the first half than they did in the second. So overall, my impressions for this match were they did their job, they did it very well, and they walked away with another 3 points, which results is always what matters. Nobody knows that better than Casey Stoney. But to me, this game was a tale of two halves. Let's start off with the first half. So the first half, I think United pounced really, really quickly. Out of the gate, they were using the high press. I even noticed at one point when they were in defense, it almost like they were playing a 4-2-4, where Jackie Gronin would actually sneak up top next to Christen Press, and they would both be kind of doing this high press while Galton and Ella Toone were in support. And that worked really, really well. A lot of times Everton in the first half at least would throw the ball away, and it would give them quite a few chances, which I don't think United really capitalized on all the mistakes that Everton really made today. I think if they did, this score could have easily been 4-5-0, but sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles. You do what you need to do to win. So the high press, again, worked very, very well this week. Something that was really interesting that I don't see United typically do is there was a lot of long balls today. Rather than playing everything through the midfield, it was either Millie or Amy Turner getting the ball in the central defending positions, or Hayley Ladd and Katie Zellum getting the ball deep in the midfield as well, and then sending the ball up high to Press, Galton, and Ella Toone. Something really interesting I saw this week, and I think this adds to my point earlier about Christen Press getting more comfortable, is Christen Press would see Zellum, Turner, that's Amy Turner for the most part, and Ladd with the ball, and she would point. For those of you who are listening on audio, I'm pointing just to either side of my screen right now, but she would point to where she wanted the ball, and they delivered the ball to her right where she wanted it pretty flawlessly just about every time. So the passing in the midfield today was superb, I thought anyway. In fact, I would go as far to say that Hayley Ladd was my woman of the match today, because she just did such a good job at facilitating play forward when the front line wanted her to, and she also defended out of her mind, I thought, so there's that as well. So that was a really big bright spot. Their long balls today for United were, I thought, pretty exceptional, and they made the most of them, which is fantastic. Other noteworthy news, I think Katie Zelm also had a really good game. She did a good job at defending and also sending the ball forward as well. I think Haley Ladd just did it better, which is why I think Haley Ladd is my woman of the match today. And it just turned out well for the club, and I think that their first half was a lot better than their second half. Leah Galton, by and large, wasn't a huge factor in today. I've noticed that in recent weeks, it seems like it's an every other week kind of thing. One week she'll not perform very well. I think today was one of those days. Then the next week she'll go and she'll play out of her mind and score a goal or two and have an assist. This was just one of her off weeks, I think. Hopefully she'll have a little bit more of that consistency like she did for the month of December. But hey, like I said, every player has a bad day at the office, so that kind of happens sometimes. Some other notes, I thought Ella Toone did another really good job at the right wing. Obviously, she scored today, but she's proving that she can not only play in that central attacking midfield role, but also on the right wing. And I think that's really nice for Casey Stoney because she can put her in either of those two spots at will and make the team a little bit more flexible and expendable. So some other notes from the first half. Yeah, so I'm going to say that Christen Press played really, really well pretty much for the entire game. You can tell for some reason today she just had a bit of a pep in her step. I don't know what it was. Not that in weeks before she was lackadaisical, but this week she was like on it, like for the whole half. Like it was amazing to see. She was receiving the ball to her feet, blocking off defenders from getting it and getting chances. She had quite a few chances. Like I said, I would say she probably could have scored 2 or 3 goals today, but that just kind of happens. You know, that's how the cookie crumbles. The point, ooh, wow, sorry guys, I just hit my stand. The point is she's playing better and she's getting more comfortable with the squad, so that's a sign in the positive direction. Other notes that I'm thinking, that's just my little note on Christen Press that I had for this game. But then kind of moving on into the second half, so we had a few subs. Let's see here. Lauren James ended up coming on for Christen Press later on. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head here. Kirsty Hansen ended up coming on for, it was Katie Zellum, and then Kirsty played in the right wing position and moved Ella Toone to the central attacking midfield, and then, of course, moved Jackie Gronin into the central midfield position as well. There's one other sub that was made. I'm trying to remember who got subbed on. Leah Galton got subbed on. Oh, actually, yeah, Leah Galton was subbed on for Kirsty Hansen. That's my bad. I should have remembered that. Maybe those were the only subs, and I just can't remember. But Kirsty Hansen put in a great shift as a sub, I thought, for Leah Galton. By the time that Kirsty Hansen went on, it was like in the 75th minute, I think it was. Casey Stoney, I think, had United really letting Everton have the ball and just kind of defending. It was almost as if United were kind of parking the bus in the second half. So it goes like this. So the way the second half started off was, you can tell Casey Stoney like changed up tactics a little bit, and she's notorious for doing that in a lot of these matches. So in the first half, United were more high press, front foot. They controlled the entire game. They pretty much always had the ball, and they were sending Everton to a panic. Everton only had 1 shot in the first half. In the second half, Casey Stoney was like, okay, we're going to not do the high press. We're going to let Everton have the ball, and we're going to make them basically do well offensively. And I think it worked really well because nothing was really going for Everton in the second half. They just couldn't break through United's defensive wall. So the strategy worked because United defended out of their minds. Every ball that was sent into the box was cleared by somebody. I mean, Kirsty Hansen included, which, like I said, she stuck out as a sub to me in this game. She defended really well. And I think that in each half, United followed the mantra of do one thing and do it well, and each half, that one thing just changed. In the first half, it was attacking. They did that very well, and they did that one thing. In the second half, they defended really well, and they just did that one thing. So it was a really interesting change in tactics because it's something I've never really seen Casey Stoney or United do, is I'm going to call it park the bus, because literally United, I felt like barely had the ball in the second half, which is really interesting, but it worked. It was very Jose Mourinho-esque. I was double-checking to see that Jose wasn't on the sidelines, maybe hiding or something like that. It was just really interesting to see, and it worked like a charm because, like I've said before, you know, United aren't really going to dominate teams. That's just not their style, but they do what it takes to win, and they do it really well. So there's that as well. Some other big second half notes. Alicia Lehman was subbed on in the second half. To me, not really too big of an impact. When it's your first debut, what do you expect? You know, that sort of happens sometimes. But really exciting for Everton that they've got another big name into their squad. Jill Scott, I think, played very well today. She put in a shift, mostly in the second half. In the first half, not so much, but in the second half, she actually almost had a bender right into the top corner. Luckily, Mary Earps of United was there to make the save, which is very positive. But overall, I think United definitely were on the back foot most of the second half, but I think that was their intent. I think they were kind of parking the bus, letting Everton have the ball, and just defend, and it worked very well, and they ended up winning the match. So there's my overall thoughts on the Manchester United match, guys. What did you guys think about the match? If you're able to watch it, feel free to jump down in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. I can't wait for the match next week. It's going to be fantastic, and they played well today by just focusing on one thing and doing it really, really well. All right, guys, so that does it for our second main topic. Let's get into the third main